Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Afama Omesi and I run the website Reading Middle Grade, which is dedicated to championing the best middle grade books for kids ages 8 to 14. Today I'm here to talk about First Chapter Friday recommendations. Now, if you don't know what First Chapter Friday is, it's kind of like a book tasting, but it's when librarians or teachers read out loud the first chapter of a middle grade book or young adult book to their class in order to pique their interest or whet their appetite for the particular book. So today I'm going to be sharing 5 books you can use for First Chapter Friday for your 5th graders. These books are wonderful not just because they're great stories, but because they start off running. So many kids today, they don't want stories that take forever to build up and take ages to get going. A lot of kids, especially now when their attention is seriously under contest with electronic devices, games, and all of those things, they need books that pick up immediately or that have an intriguing beginning, intriguing first chapter, or that are really funny or introduce them to really curious characters right off the bat. And that's what we have with these First Chapter Friday recommendations. So I'm going to share 5 books with you, 5 books that I love. These 5 books have strong openings that will make you very curious about the story, the characters, the overall plot, and get your readers ready to go. Now, at the end of this video, you can also click the link below to check out a First Chapter Friday video recording for one of the books that I'm going to share with you on the list today. So I'm going to read, in that video, I'm reading the first chapter of that book in its entirety and book talking a little bit so you can share with your classroom and hopefully it gets them excited to read that book. In this video, I will only be reading the first page of each book or just telling you a bit about how the book starts so that you can do some more research on your own and see if it's something that your students would be interested in. Okay, let's get started. The first book I'm going to talk about today is one that almost every 5th grade teacher knows, and that is Ghost. Ghost is by Jason Reynolds, and it was a National Book Award finalist. It's about this young man here, Castle Crenshaw, who is also known as Ghost. So the book starts off when Ghost discovers a group of kids doing some track tryouts, and he decides he's going to try out too, and he realizes that they realize that he's very fast, and then he joins this group of track runners. You can see them at the back. It's actually the first in a series where we follow each of the track kids and we learn more about their personal lives and the story behind how they came to be runners. And the amazing thing with Ghost here is that he has a very interesting background. So his dad is in prison and his dad actually shot at him when he was younger. So he has all of this trauma that he's running away from, and running kind of becomes a lifeline for him. Even though it feels at first like he's running away from his problems, he eventually is able to tackle them because of running and the community that he finds through running. I love the tone and the voice in this book. I'm going to read the first page to you. So the first chapter is called World Records, and he says, check this out. This dude named Andrew Dahl holds the world record for blowing up the most balloons with his nose. Yeah, that's true. Not sure how he found out that was some kind of special talent, and I can't even imagine how much snot be in those balloons, but hey, it's a thing, and Andrew's the best at it. There's also this lady named Charlotte Lee who holds the record for owning the most rubber ducks. No lie. Here's what's weird about that. Why would you even want one rubber duck, let alone 5,631? I mean, come on. And me? Well, I probably hold the world record for knowing the most world records. That and for eating the most sunflower seeds. So this is just page 1 of this book, and throughout this first chapter, we get a very interesting, inciting event that will keep readers glued to this book. I mean, Castle's voice, or Ghost's voice, right from the beginning alone is gripping and engaging. And this is a wonderful one to introduce your 5th graders to. It is very short. It's less than 200 pages long, which I love about Jason Reynolds. So if you're new to this series, you're in for such a treat. Next up is Alone by Megan E. Freeman. This is a dystopian middle grade novel in verse. Now it looks like it has a bajillion pages, but because it's a verse novel, it's actually pretty sparsely populated in terms of the text. And it's all about this girl who realizes that she's been left behind during an evacuation of her town, and she has to fend for herself. throughout some months, including during a brutal winter season. And we don't know why she's been left alone. We don't know why the town was evacuated. Fortunately for us, though, there is a follow-up novel coming out February 2025 where we will hopefully get some more answers. And good news, I'm also having Megan E. Freeman for a virtual author visit. I'm going to leave the link to register below. You can bring your school, bring your class, and it's $100 for each school or class attending. But back to Alone, this is a very interesting book because the protagonist grows up a little bit, so it appeals to a wide range of ages. You can use this for your 5th grade classes or even 6th graders, and some 7th graders will also be interested in this one. The book starts off with a prologue of sorts before we finally get into the story, and I think that's what makes this one unique because there is a bit of world building and setup so we understand Maddie's life before the event, but the author does us a favor by starting with a bit of a prologue which is set in Maddie's life after the evacuation. So it reads, "This is not adolescent hyperbole. This is my reality. Alone in this place where I've been surviving on my own for over 3 years, with no one but a big, smelly Rottweiler who farts and hogs the covers. You might think I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. I'm not just being dramatic, like my grandma might say. I figured by the time I was a teenager, I'd be thinking about getting my driver's permit, going to dances, playing varsity soccer, and kissing. But instead, I'm thinking about where to find food and fuel and water and whether to use Mountain Dew to force flush the toilet or to drink, even though it's the color of radioactive urine and is probably toxic when ingested over long periods of time. Better to be radioactive or dehydrated? These are the questions that plague my daily existence, at least for now. At least until my parents come back." I don't know about you, but that makes me very curious about this book. And I think it's going to make your young readers also very curious. I mean, flushing the toilet with Mountain Dew. Definitely recommend this one. If you have young readers who love dystopia, a touch of survival, adventure, they're going to love this. And it's also in verse, which means that it might be more accessible for kids who are intimidated by large blocks of text. Next up is a book I have on my Kindle. It is called The Kate in Between. It is by Claire Swinarski, who's one of my favorite middle grade authors. Now, this book is fascinating because it's all about this girl who is kind of in that phase in middle school where she maybe wants to change her friend group. She has this one best friend who is content being her best friend and having no other friends. But she is thinking of maybe stepping out a bit, and by she, I mean Kate. So when she gets in with the popular girls and they start to bully her current best friend, but she doesn't speak up, and then an accident happens, Kate is caught on camera saving her current best friend. But was she really saving her friend, or was she in with the bullies? The public doesn't know this, but Kate knows the truth, and it's becoming really hard to live with when everybody thinks she's Kate the Great. I love the way the story begins. The first chapter is just such an engaging, captivating chapter. It's going to appeal to kids who love like friendship drama stories, stories about coming of age, figuring out who you want to be, a character who is not perfect, quite flawed, but who we might eventually begin to root for. So here's the first page on my Kindle. I'm going to read it out. It says, and I love this first line, "Every story has a villain, and the one in this story is me." I need to tell you that right off the bat. Look, all tales need a bad guy. In some books, it's obvious. In Peter Rabbit, you've got Mr. McGregor chasing the poor bunny through his garden with a pitchfork. Harry Potter has Voldemort. Holes has the warden. But sometimes the villain is a little harder to see. Maybe it's a tornado, a person's own self-doubt, or a friend who isn't who you thought they were. Villains don't always walk around with a sign hanging from their neck that says, "Evil, snatching up hopes and dreams." In this story, the one you're sitting down to read, I am the bad guy, okay? Just know that now. This is not a happy-go-lucky fairy tale where a beautiful princess gets rescued by a handsome prince and they ride off into the sunset. This is a story of good versus evil, of expectations versus reality, of cell phones versus your own two eyes. If you feel like I already gave away the ending, don't be upset. Surprises are great, except for when they're not. I love this book. It's one of my favorite books of all time. It's also my favorite Claire Swinarski book till date, even though it's her second novel out of like 4 books. So I really hope that your 5th graders get to read this one. There's so much about going viral, social media, and I think it's really going to resonate with young readers. Now, next up on our list is Best Friends, Bikinis, and Other Summer Catastrophes. This is a great one to show readers, especially if they're looking for a summer book, a summary story that they can enjoy. It was on my summer reading guide in 2022, I believe, and I love the story. It's about a girl named Alex and her best friend, Will. Alex and Will, they always do everything together. They spend all the summers together. They work on their little projects together. But this summer, something's changing. A new girl, a new bombshell has entered the villa. There's a new girl in their lives, and Will seems very interested in this new girl named Rebecca. And it's kind of upsetting their friendship dynamic. Not because Alex has a crush on Will, but because it's just weird. Why would some girl come and take your best friend away from you? That's what Alex is thinking. And so this story is about the project that Alex convinces Will to do so that they can spend more time together as friends over the summer, and how they navigate that dynamic. I love that the ending surprised me. It did not go at all where I was expecting it to go. And if you're already creating a picture in your mind of where you think the story is going to go, be prepared to be a little bit surprised. So I'm not going to read the first page of this one, but I would love for you to check out a sample, maybe on Amazon, or if you have the book in your library, try reading the first chapter and seeing if it's something that your fifth graders would be interested in. This is also a good one to try for sixth grade as well. The final book I would like to talk about today is Jennifer Chan Is Not Alone by Tay Keller. Tay Keller is the author of the Newbery-winning book, but When You Trap a Tiger. But this is one of my favorite books of hers. The book opens with Mallory finding out that the new neighbor who has been trying to befriend her is missing. And now there are other secrets that readers are going to find out throughout the story. They'll find out that the new neighbor was actually bullied by Mallory and her friends, and she kind of believed in aliens. But now the question is, was she abducted by aliens, or is there something more to the story? This is a layered mystery written from the perspective of the bully in alternating timelines, now and then. And we kind of see what led up to the disappearance of this girl, Jennifer Chan, and where she is and what that means for the rest of the characters in this book. I don't want to give away too much, but this story is really mysterious, and it's great for readers who like books with alternating timelines and who like to hear from the perspective of the bully. And I love how vivid the story is. It's very easy to picture everything happening in the story and really identify with the characters in this book. This is a wonderful story, again, for 5th and 6th graders, and definitely one you should check out. And those are my first chapter Friday recommendations for 5th graders. I'm going to do another video for 6th graders, although like I mentioned, a couple of these books also work well for 6th graders. I'm also going to be making a full video reading all of these books, the first chapters of all of these books, and book talking them a little more. So if you want to share those with your classroom, they will be available very soon. But in the meantime, you can click the link in the description below to watch my video all about the Kate in between and share it with the kids in your classroom. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please check out my blog, readingmiddlegrade.com, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like if you like this video and subscribe. Also share it with the educators and parents in your network. Bye.